Good morning, everyone. Today is February the 13th. It is a Wednesday. This is the Metastock Map. I wanted to bring you up to date on what's going on because we did have a spike in motion. So let's see what the system says. Interestingly, here's how the mechanic works. And this is really great for trade management because every trade certainly does not work. And this is one of those trades where we're at the beginning of a move and the failed retest of resistance gives us our motion downside in the chart. So let's take a look at what happened. We had the sell trigger and it said, hey, listen, you want to wait for a failed retest of 2717, and we did have that. It allowed us to engage from a swing perspective over a couple of days, and those days were Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And so now what we are looking at is the move up and over primary resistance. This was at the 2737 line. And so that does stop us out for this particular space. But here's what happened. When we take the failed retest of 2717, we're able to take our profit at the 2703, 2705, all the way down into the first areas of resistance. And when you're at the beginning of a move down, you will notice, particularly if you've got an upward sloping moving average. See, we entered this trade because it was under that moving average. And so when we take a look at that and we see that it's still upwardly moving, we have to take profit at the initial gauges. And so what I've been doing in my earlier reports is really talking about intraday motion and swing motion. This is only about swing motion. What this has said is, listen, we've got a bearish environment that is pressing forward. We've got news about trade. Listen, this is an algorithmically run market. I do not believe that this market is being run on raw technical data, but it does tell us the following. Our next stop is likely 2770, and in the pre-market, we are a bit higher than that today. So what are we looking at? The breakout and over that took us higher, the continuation of that motion. And for us, we are out of this swing long. But if you manage the swing longs the proper way at the beginning of motion, you're going to be able to take profit at this edge, recapture some movement as it breaks down again, capture some more profit at the edge. Notice these edges you can see right here at 2703, 2705. Listen, if you listen to my daily remarks, you're going to see those areas about how to manage motion more properly in general spaces. So what are we doing? We're in a cautious space, and so you can see it's neutral showing down here in our expert trend analysis. And so it's very, very messy. Could we have a sharp move to the upside? Yes, it looks really bullish. A lot of stuff out there, but really this market is algorithmically run and it's running against all of the motion that says we have a little bit of trouble. Pullbacks are still buy zones because of overall motion, and we have to realize that when we are taking first positions short. So we are out of all of these breaking up over the edge. The next thing we want to do is watch it. If it pulls back and comes into 2735 today, it's going to give us another bullish press to the upside. We can get up over 48. We can stay there. Right now, this is a thin volume node, and low volume node, excuse me, and what it's going to do is give us pressure to fill in this place. So we could be really noisy and chattery in this motion. If we expand up into this edge, it'll be the next area that we can say, hey, listen, that's a resistance zone. We can see what's happening here. Notice this is a big gap. And so that gap could really take us into this next line, which is 2780. But that really is what we are looking at from the ES. For the NQ, it's not quite as strong, but again, the very same thing. Here we are. If you take a look at the motion, it says we've got a resistance edge. So you look for that failed test. It comes in, gives us a couple of shots to go into frontline support. I have not changed this bottom line. It's the same thing as we move up over the edge. We know that keeping up over this 69.12, 69.15 area really is a good support zone to watch. Now we're at the top of resistance. There are a lot of charts just packing right into resistance here. We've got to be really careful holding any kind of long action in the NQ for extended periods. We want to watch it spike and then fade, and that's going to really be all the big charts that we see, Netflix, Amazon, Google, Tesla, the whole shebang. All of them are going to be expanding and then ready for collapse. The YM doing the same sort of thing. It's actually recovered quite a bit better, and it is running really on the news. It's almost right at the edge of this zone, and there's the fill of the gap. So we could see a lot of noise right here into this edge. Resistance levels showing, so watch today. See how well the chart behaves against the 25,361 area. That's going to tell us whether we can hold. Above it, we have bullish action on the day. Below it, it's going to be a little bit more bearish. Let's take a look at oil. Oil has been holding fairly steady. Look at how it bounced off of this zone. Here was a very nice resistance area that says, hey, here's an introductory sell zone if you haven't been long. But if you have been long, it's a buy to cover, right? Excuse me, it's a sell to cover. And so what we'll be looking at is how well it holds this region. We are moving up over this area, up above 55. We've got resistance all the way to 56.5, 56.20. Here's what we need to do. See how this is bearish? It's very sideways. Today is the EIA report, excuse me. And here's going to be our breakout zone. You can see it across the way, all the way from the left here from November up above this 53.50-ish area. It's going to be a bit bullish into resistance. So you have to be very careful up above this area. Pullbacks are still buy zones in this chart. For gold, now gold, the dollar has been really, really moving up. Gold has been very stagnant. So the rubber's going to meet the road here at some juncture. We are caught between 13.19 and 13.13, really. 13.08 is the very low edge of that. It's probably here in this region. So you want to look for a failed retest below 13.10. That's going to be able to bring us down into these areas. We have triggered a sell zone, but this sell zone is coming in an upwardly trending chart, just like the one we saw a little bit ago. So when you see a sell zone in an upwardly trending chart, you're going to wait for the resistance edges up here to give you some trouble. Dollar has moved a lot and gold has stayed stagnant. So they're using it for some other reason other than just the reversal of the dollar, right? So we are looking at that space to see, hey, listen, could we have ourselves a sell zone? Here's the thing. If you sell here as it comes up to the top, where we see clear resistance edges, right? If you sell there, the first thing you have to do, we're going to treat it just like the ES, so that if the trade does stop out, it's minimal losses or even gains, because what we've done is take profit at these first targets. This was the first sell zone up here at the high around 13.19. We take profit into these areas. Let's wait for it to get to 13.19, 13.21, and let it drift below there before we consider the short. That's been the Metastock Map. Good luck trading, everyone. We've got to think about this wisely. Markets are very, very interesting right now. A lot of cross currents, and it's not a particularly easy game. You've just got to pick something and realize the motion is going to work until it doesn't, and you be prepared to work within that motion into the next step.